Hey, what's good? I'm Tristan. You're watching Precision Rifle Reviews, and for the purpose of review today, we're taking a look at a very lovely rifle scope. This is from March, as you can see from the side of the scope here. This is the 10 to 60 times 56 High Master. Now, if you don't know what High Master is, I'm going to get to it, so stick about. Basically, this is a very high-end rifle scope manufactured by the company March. The parent company is Dion. These are a hand-built item out of Japan. Everything that sort of operates and moves on them is hand put together. The entire rifle scope is actually put together by hand by an optical engineer. They have no production line. One person makes one scope. So like I say, these are a very high-end item, built extremely well. As you can see from the underside of the scope here, there's no doors for access points into the internal mechanism of the rifle scope. It is all sealed. This scope started life as a solid block or billet of aluminium or aluminum, depending on what country you come from, and is machined down to this shape. It is not actually heated and stretched or spun to size. They're machined down to this shape. So it really is the bee's knees, its legs and its arms of rifle scopes. Now this is a rifle scope which is very focused around target style shooting, with a power range or a magnification range starting at 10 and going to 60 power, with the big 56mm objective lens and 34mm main tube. It really does lend itself well with a reticle in the second focal plane to target style shooting. In saying that, they have a lot of the turrets and illumination and that sort of thing has been sort of lent and borrowed across the entire range. That being, they've got a new illumination switch now, which I actually particularly like with these ones. The way it works is you have 6 levels of illumination brightness, and you simply turn it on and off. That's all there is to it. So it's just one switch to turn the unit on and off. Being a target rifle, at this point, this rifle scope is only offered in MOA units of elevation, and it has on hand 60 MOAs of 60 minutes of angle, or MOA of elevation, and you have 40 MOA of windage. You do have the zero stop function, which is very well known with the March scopes being very easy to use. So basically speaking, say I dial up here, and I've just found that was the 0 point for the rifle, and that's where I wanted to zero it. To set the zero stop, there's no internal mucking about or putting your fingers inside the optics. All that you do is take up this little set ring here from the underside. It's a left-hand thread. Bring that up, tight up under the cap, and then using the supplied Allen wrench, tighten the 2 little grub screws, and now you can dial up on your elevation. But once this is tightened down, when you get back down to that point, you have a physical barrier to stop you at your zero. So you have set a zero stop for the rifle scope. Brilliant. Basically, there's no, like I say, internal mucking around with it, and it's one of the features that I personally very much like with the second focal plane rifle scopes. And for reference, the first focal plane do a very similar zero stop, or just as easy zero stop, via the top. So the turret itself, if I bring it in close, you can hear, and to sort of let the camera focus there, you can hear how tactile and perfect these clicks really are. Listen to this. It doesn't want to slip past. It's very tactile, very audible, very crisp, very perfect elevation clicks, and the same with the windage. Like I say, you can just hear that they're very, very nice. These are one of the only rifle scopes that are, that can boast that they have no internal plastic parts. When the optical engineer puts this scope together, it's physically too big, it won't go together, and he needs to hand lap the internal components to go back together. This is the eye box, and for the people that wear eyeglasses, look at this section here. To adjust your reticle, you're just going to wind this part here back, and then you have a very, very nice locking ring that you can just back off, back onto it, and then just dial that all the way forward. I actually had a fair bit on there, so we can, with the new user, wind it all the way back in for them so it's ready to go. I would love to have mounted this optic, guys, and put it on my rifle and taken it out and used it for you in the field. However, I am a March scope stealer, and this unit has just been sold, so therefore it'll be a little bit unfair to use it. The magnification dial. Now this is a very, very lovely dial. You can see the point at the top here indexing where it comes on, and it just moves so effortlessly. It does take a little bit of pressure to move the magnification dial, but that's purely because this, like I say, this item is hand built, hand lapped together, and the quality is just really, it is second to none. The 56mm objective lens is going to is definitely going to help you. This scope is 413 millimeters long. It weighs 940 grams. As we mentioned, you've got the 34mm tube with the 56mm objective lens, and I did mention the fact that it has high master. Now we need some clarification on this, because what is high master? High master, I've heard and seen lots of videos where people say, well, high master is March's version of ED glass or high definition glass, and that is totally incorrect. What is high master? Basically, in a rifle scope, here in the tube body, they have some a bank of, a huge amount of very small 20mm across lenses, where a lot of the image correction in any normal rifle scope is done. What March have done for the high master, have put a proprietary 3-lens structure up here in the objective lens. So you have a 3-lens structure in the front of the scope at a 56mm size, where the majority of the image correction is done. And therefore, because it is done on a bigger 56mm lens, 1, it is a lot better. 2, it is on a wider eyepiece, so the image correction can be a lot more crisper, because they can see it quite a lot better as well once they're physically working with it. And that's, under patent and unique to March scopes. Yes, they do also have ultra high definition glass, and this is probably going to be one of the most crisp, best looking optics that you can physically buy today at planet Earth. The focus here on the left hand side, one of the things that I really love about the March scope is quite regularly you'll see 100, 200, 300 and 400 meters, well, which is quite silly, because my eyes at the age that I am are going to be quite different to someone who's double my age, and quite different to someone who's half of my age. So they've just got a progression, and what that encourages the user to do is not put this at 100 meters and say, well, I was shooting at 100 meters and it was incorrect, so I want, some answers of what's going wrong. It makes you basically set your focus style the way it should. So that's the actual scope itself, and let's just quickly get to what do you get when you purchase a March scope, because you actually get, and I'll take that camera back out, you actually get quite a lot. As you can see here, the first thing that you get is the sunshade. The sunshade that goes onto the scope of the bell of the scope for shooting really high bright conditions is an inclusion. The other thing that you will also receive is the very nice embossed March Scopes microfiber cleaning cloth, which is a very nice addition. You'll receive a second battery for the illumination, and I love that you can just take that off, put it in, and you're done. It doesn't have to go deep into the scope, so you get a spare battery. You get the Allen wrench that I mentioned to make the corrections to the scope itself. Now, as you can see here, at the moment there are just some travel caps that come with the optic for travel, but you will also receive these ones here. Now, I very much like the March scopes. They're deeply embossed with the March logo there, if the camera's going to pick up on it. Like I say, very deeply embossed March logo. And if I just slide it on a little bit, most lens caps will open, and that's where they sit. So you've got one stage open, and the thing that I like about the March scopes is that they lock out and they do not move at all. This is great because it doesn't flap around in the wind, and you can actually look over the target, over the scope, down range at your target, and see it well because the flap's not in its way. So you get the two-stage objective lens and ICAP lens included in your sale. And I'll just pop that one there back on. Naturally, you'll receive an owner's manual. The owner's manual for March scopes, as you can see here, are extremely well illustrated. You'll get pictures of your actual rifle scope, your actual turret with its values and all its markings, every single detail for lengths, millimeters thick, and all those sorts of things. Talking of thickness, the sidewall on the 34mm scopes is twice as thick as every other rifle scope. Most rifle scopes on the market today have a 2mm sidewall. March utilize a 4mm thick sidewall. They are a little bit more heavy because of that, but you get a much stronger rifle scope. Here's the warranty details. 10 years warranty on a March scope. I was watching one of the other reviews from a European dealer actually, and he said at this point we're unsure on how the warranty system actually works with March, because to date we have never sent one back, and I'm the same. At this point, I've never personally sent one back either. Here in Australia, like I mentioned, I'm a sub-dealer, so full disclosure, if you would like to purchase a March scope, by all means, you can get in contact with me. You can, in the comments, put your question and I will answer you. You can email me and I'll put my details in there. But the main dealer here in Australia is BRT Shooter Supplies, Stuart and Annie Elliott, who are both world champion shooters themselves in their own right, and give this lovely covering letter, one thanking you for buying a March scope, and give you some really good hints and tips. And I would highly suggest you just having a quick read through that, because you do pick up quite a lot from it. Now this one here is what they call a modifying disc, and it just screws on the inside of the objective lens there, and you can see here may cut incoming light by as much as 40%. The biggest one is depth of focus is increased by approximately 40%. Now that's a huge thing. Like we mentioned, this is predominantly a target rifle. Would you believe that this rifle scope will focus at full power at 10 yards? That's correct, it's not a misprint, and I'm not saying it wrong. It will focus at 10 yards. So even if you're shooting air rifle or 22 LR just at 50 meters, you're going to be well within the capabilities of this extremely high-end scope. It's basically what it's developed for. Now, the last thing that I want to show you that you do get included with the March scopes is this very nice, well-made, put it in the right way, power throw, magnification power throw lever. So it's basically a fast throw lever for your magnification ring. Now, I have seen some other reviews sillily make comments that it was disappointing that they only got a plastic, sort of fast throw lever for their high-end rifle scope. Now, let me tell you this before I show you how it works. If you think it's a good idea to screw an aluminium stud into this and let it hang off the side of the rifle here so you've got a long lever, or to get a solid piece of metal ring and wrap it around here that has a handle attached to it and bolt it to a moving part of your rifle scope, you're sadly very, very, very mistaken. It's an extremely bad idea to do that. Reason being is if something was to fall or bump or to hit your rifle scope, basically what you've done is like a ratcheting spanner or a tool, you've put a lever or a lever which is going to add torque, and most likely if you hit or bump something onto that fast throw lever, which you have now rigidly attached to your scope, it's going to break. Now this item was specifically designed for this item to be the weak point. It's very nicely made. It's embossed with the March logo all over it. It has very nice annealing, or knurling should I say, over the hand fast throw lever. On the lever, on the magnification dial itself, there's a large index here. You just place that item over it like so. And wrap that around there, click it on. It's that easy. And now you have a fast throw lever to go through your magnification range. But if it was to get bumped, like I just got through telling you, it's just going to basically click off. It is the weak point, opposed to the whole thing breaking. So if, like I say, you thought you were clever by putting this huge big chunky thing on there because, hey, stronger and bigger is better, sometimes it's really not. So that, in a nutshell, is the High Master 10 to 60 times 56 March rifle scope. If you have any questions, like I mentioned, we are a sub dealer. I have just sold this one, and we can help you with any rifle scope possible. March do hunting, long range shooting, extreme long range shooting, tactical, target, hunting, every rifle scope that you can think of. AR platforms, bolt action rifles, of course, absolutely everything you can think of. If you'd like to have a look at the overview sheet for this item that also comes with it, I'm just going to place that there in closing so you can pause and have a bit of a read if need be. If you've taken value from my video, I do ask that you please just like, subscribe and share it around. We don't send you anything, but it sure helps us out on the next video. And until then, take care.